All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sabrae Show Live, where we control our own narratives and have the conversations that we need to have in order to empower our community. I'm Sabrae.
My name's Jameel.
I'm Sean.
Welcome to the best show in the DMV. Okay. So, well, before we get started, how was y'all weekend?
It was lit.
It was.
Okay.
It was.
Oh, yes, everybody. Everybody watching. This is 1 year that Yatta has been on the Sabrae Show Live, and it is such an honor to have her. I can't say it enough. Thank you so much. Yeah.
That's dope. That's a blessing.
Yes.
And so, can you tell the short story of how you came?
Well, oh my God. I saw that coming. Well, my good old buddy, old pal here, Mr. Sean, aka Sonny Moneybags Hoffa.
Moi?
You know, Sean had contacted me and said, "Hey, my homegirl, I was supposed to be on her show today, and her female guest canceled. Hey, do you think you could fill in?" And I'm just like, I mean, we got a show, okay? I guess. So he told me what the topic was. I'm like, oh, I can talk about that. And it was living with your significant other.
Go check that out right now. You can go find that right now on YouTube.
Run them archives. So I was like, okay. So, went out there. We linked up. We did it. Everything was cool. I was kind of nervous. I don't really do this kind of stuff, really, weirdly enough.
Mm-hmm.
But everything floated. And then Sabrae's like, okay, I'll send you clips and you can post them on your social media. And I'm like, all right, cool. And she kind of hit me up on the side chat like, look, kind of feeling your vibe a little bit. Like, you want to co-host? I'm like, yes. And the rest is history.
Yes, Yatta, and I really appreciate you. She comes every single time, and I just really enjoy it.
I don't call out at all.
You really don't. But even if you had to, that'd be perfectly fine. I'm just saying, I could rely on her. She's very reliable, dependable. I really appreciate that. That's very hard to find. Because I started it by myself, and it's just great to have consistent people.
Because you started from the bottom. Now you're here.
Now we're here.
I genuinely hate this guy.
Yeah. That was very cliche, but whatever. Speaking of which, Sean, I seen on Insta story recently you got your oldest son, a little generic pair of, what are those sneakers? What was that about?
You did not do him like that.
So
how old is your son, by the way?
My son,
your oldest son.
Sean. He's 9. We've been having, some issues. I'm not here to embarrass my son because that's my boy. That's my, But I've been trying to try different disciplinary tactics. Everybody don't beat your kids, this and that. I'm like, okay, let me try alternate methods. So I bought him a pair of sneakers that I thought hey, this is not going to go so well for him in school. And he turned out to like them. And it backfired on me. So, I was upset because, first of all, he liked the shoes, and I'm not raising any Bamas, but he liked the shoes. So,
word of the day, Bamas.
We had that one before.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Bama?
Yeah. Just to run it back.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can
dress.
Yes.
Unfashionable.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I went back the next day to get him some more shoes, and he liked those as well. So now,
he won.
Yeah, now he just can't go outside.
Did you ever think of Shacks or something?
Yeah, so I bought him some AN1s. I'm like, who would wear AN1s? So I didn't tell him, right? So in the morning,
AN1s?
Walmart.
Oh,
so, but they look like, I'm not in the shoes, but they look like some Jordans because I didn't want to I said, I ain't going to do them that dirty.
You just wanted somebody to have to catch the AN1 sign.
So in the morning, he said, ooh. He said, when I'm playing basketball, these gonna be like AN1. I'm like, what? He said, yeah, my friend had these shoes. And I'm thinking, I was like, your friend? His parents do not love him.
That straight finessed you. That's what he did. He finessed you. He finessed you.
I thought it was, but no,
he finessed you.
He was taking pictures of them,
No, that's how you ruin it.
Because they was new. Because what if all his classmates, what if his peers kind of broke, and that's just what they on?
Yeah.
They might be on that AN1.
But also, he's not into, one of my boys said, you got to do other things because, he said, some kids are just not into fashion. They're not in clothes, so it doesn't bother them. He said, and you should big up him because he wasn't he likes what he likes.
Yeah.
So it don't matter what type of shoes are. If he like them, you like them. So I ain't mad at that.
And we might be programmed into certain brands too that kids may not be. So they might see the colors or see the patterns and be like, oh, it's popping. When we can be like,
That's
nobody wear no
typically
and
what
ones.
it is for kids. Because kids be wanting what they want. And them be the same kids that just want they Spider-Man play shoes.
Right.
And the parents like, nah, you're going to get these Balenciagas that they didn't ask
Right.
for. When they just want some Spider-Mans. Like, I mean.
So you can put them on the grind.
Spider-Mans.
Right.
Put your kid on the grind.
Yeah, I mean, that was
Like
a good
Balenciaga
idea,
before I
but
can smell it.
the way that backfired was hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't feel too well about that.
That's
So-
his name right there. He learned a lesson
He
too.
finesse. He got two
Maybe
new pair and
Skechers.
ones.
Maybe Skechers. Would that work?
Yeah, see, the thing that blows me, like, when people talk about, like, the prices of shoes, I didn't go into Walmart originally. I went into Payless. Payless, these shoes are like $35 or like $40. They're not cheap. So, like, when people say, you can go to, like, Adidas, you can go to any outlet and get your kids' shoes, like, for 30 and 40 bucks. So, like, I didn't get that.
Payless, like,
Payless,
yeah.
I was trying to get them some champion shoes. I was like, why are these $35? Those and ones was $14. So that's why I went.
Champion
Right.
popularity then cycle back. That's
Yeah.
That's what that is.
I said, these are not
They
paying
jumped
less
the price
at
up.
all. These are paying more. Yeah.
Paying same.
right. Or equivalent at the very least.
Oh.
So, well, good luck with that. Number
Yeah.
one.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, bruh.
Yeah, I mean, it's just we all parents. Just like you, kind of like I
Now
don't
he
know.
learned that if he fake like he like your punishment, that he gets through it easy.
He's like that because it's like one time I was like, man, you can't have no juice or soda. You gotta drink water. He said the water's good for me.
Some kids are like
Nah,
that.
I wasn't like that. I did get punished
Well, you
one
gonna
time.
get yourself.
I got punished like that one time. My mom, I was talking, doing too much in school, just talking, when they're not supposed to be talking. So hence the show, so whatever. So she was like, you're going to wear cornrows. You're not going to jazz up your uniform with your little, the skinny jeans or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? You know how we, instead of wearing a regular up and down pants, and then you're going to wear the regular polo from Walmart and like, same deal, with no earrings. And I was like, Mom, they're going to think I'm gay. So she let me wear the earrings and the ponytail instead of the cornrows. So it worked. That shit fucking worked for me. Yeah. You try to be cute.
Like that.
Yeah.
She just put me. She just on punishment all the time. You can't go outside, and I'm just gonna get.
I didn't
your
give
nerves.
I didn't care.
I was
You
broke.
on punishment all summer. I'm like, oh, okay.
I was broke and on punishment. So, I mean, it was rough. Like, then you got to go to school. You got the off-brand. Like, I remember one story. You remember the little flight jackets, the bombers?
Yeah.
They had an orange on the
Orange
inside.
side, the black one outside.
Right, so
Yeah.
I wanted one, right? And I was telling my mother, like, I get this. She like, all right, I'm going to buy you a winter coat. I did go to my report card and everything, right? My mother went to Rugged. She took me to Rugged Warehouse.
Oh yeah, the John Bowie.
my
Which one you got?
I remember
College
that.
Park. They got to go like College Park. Yeah.
College Park, right? And bought me the bomber, but it wasn't puffy. It was thin.
Oh wow.
It was red on the inside instead of orange, right? But that's all it was. It was like, you get this or you ain't getting nothing. And I'm like, damn. Well, go
You
ahead,
had a
give me that
red
junk.
bottom bomber.
The red bottom bomber.
Record Warehouse is a
win-
throwback.
Listen,
They had
that's
some
what I'm telling you. This is real shit. This
Hey,
is
they
a-
had
was
the
clutch.
joint. They
Hey.
had the not Ed Hardy when we was wearing that. They had something else that we was wearing at the time.
Trues.
they had
Trues?
everything. Rugged Warehouse had everything. It might be
For the
some,
low.
it might
For
be
the
some
low.
stitching wrong or something
Yeah,
on the jump.
yeah.
But look,
Whatever
the next
happened to-
morning,
oh, go ahead.
the next morning, she's late to drop me off for the bus, and I had to run after the bus in my off-brand ass jacket.
Oh,
so by
man.
the time I get on the bus, everybody probably got like 5
Yeah.
from me. So I'm just
Man.
walking into a barrage. But that's what give you character.
Yeah, it
The
is.
wind was
Yeah.
fucking you up. That jump was thin as shit. You
Wasn't breaking no wind.
That's how you learn how to jump, though.
That's how you learn.
Yes,
That's
yeah.
how you learn.
Yeah.
That's how you learn. I'm so good at it.
You stupid. I've seen this question pop up a couple times online, and I was like, okay, maybe that should be like the question of the day this week. I heard TK Kirkland on Vlad TV talking about it, and basically the comment was, and the question I want to ask is, he said, a man is only as faithful as his options. And I would hope, this should make sense, but I would hope that it's not true. I wanted to ask y'all, question of the day, do you think that's true?
Yes and no.
It depends on the man. I ain't trying to
Good-
give you no.
good.
It all depends on the man. What one man's perspective is not another man's perspective. You know what I mean? So that's in his life. I don't think that's with every man.
Yeah, I think it's to a degree it's true, but it's not all encompassing.
I agree with Sean. No, but you know what?
Yeah.
It's different. It's different.
It's coming from a nigga with a whole lot of options.
Yeah. No.
It's different approaching the situation with a whole lot of options though. It's not because it's not the average thing. If you a woman and you go date a dude that got no attention from women, it's gonna be totally different than dating a dude because you might get comfortable with this dude that don't get no attention from women, and he might be alright with it. But you get comfortable with this dude that every time he go walk out the house, somebody like, hey, you happy? You happy? You got a girl? You happy? I don't see a ring. What y'all waiting on? You got a baby? You know what I'm saying? Then it's different. Like, so.
Yeah, this one of my coworkers, he was like, man, I don't see why guys cheat. I've never cheated. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, you don't get no hoes.
Never
you don't
had
have
no
to worry
pussy
about
thrown
it.
at
So it's like it's easier for you to walk that straight line because you can't look left or right.
And then them niggas get on the gram and make a whole bunch of videos like y'all ain't shit. Y'all can't do woo woo woo. It's like nah, but you never had that.
Because he'd have to explicitly try. If you don't get no chicks, then it's like, okay, you got to try to cheat because it's not like it's getting lobbed at you and you ducking left and right and somebody caught you. You have to actually put in the effort to cheat because you don't get no bitches.
And it takes two to tango. Ain't nobody trying to get in the dancing ring with you.
Right.
It's easy.
Right. What if you turn the corner and some pussy was right there? Just right there. As soon as you turn the corner, it's right there.
Yeah. Like on the corner, right there.
Right there. Hey, how you doing?
Like individually or attached to
I'm talking about every day. It's attached to somebody, but it's right there around the corner. What do you do?
It's like a
And it's different because he's not a superstar, but like celebrities.
Rate him from 1 to 10.
You said what?
Okay.
As him as a celebrity?
As a friend?
Yeah, from a woman's lens.
TK Kirk. I mean, y'all got.
No. You're talking about. Well, I'm talking about your coworker, the one but you know.
I know. I'm not even talking about physically. The way he like interacts, the way that he dresses,
I get you.
like the way like he's socially like awkward. You know what I mean? Like he can't catch like hints. You know, like stuff like that. Like
I know some guys like that.
Like we went out in like a happy hour setting, and like he's just like corny.
Right.
And I mean, I could be corny to another man, but he's corny to me.
Right.
So
I get what you're saying.
Type of corny, not like you do like head ass shit for your girl corny, but like you're an actual corny.
Yeah, because I feel like guys could be attractive to you, but then when you start talking to them, you be like, nah.
For sure.
Right.
100%.
Right.
Niggas talk themselves out of pussy every day.
Right.
Yeah. I thought it was an interesting question. I think that, like Sean said, it really depends on the man.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a little harder for the ones with a lot of options. You know, his celebrities or rich, wealthy men with charming personalities.
You gotta be rich. You know what it is? Look at the numbers.
Something's got to be working for you. Like 2 out of 3.
Do the numbers.
I'm gonna tell you.
Do the numbers.
I'm gonna tell you why. Once you take out the gay man, the
God.
men that's on the down low, the men that's in jail. I ran these numbers on Twitter, 4 years ago?
We had this conversation like 2 days ago.
The men that's in jail, the dudes that's married already, the dudes that don't got no job, that don't got no car, that ain't got no future. Right, okay, so for somebody that's doing moderately well for themselves, all those restrictions are gone. It don't matter how many kids I got. Did you have a job? You got a future?
Women and men after that,
exactly.
At that ratio.
Exactly. And especially with more and more women being open to the idea of
side bitching.
I always say with women, like, y'all got it hard because y'all dating pool is small. Like, our dating pool is like
humongous.
Huge.
Because I feel like some women, not all women, they've been fucked over by some men. Yeah. Or it ain't really a lot of options. They'll deal with the bare minimum.
I think that y'all have the same options as us, but y'all just more accepting of the ones.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, we had that. Yeah, we most definitely.
Yeah. Anyway, another question I had. Y'all familiar with the Stephon Clark situation?
Yes.
Stephon Clark, the young man who was shot in his grandmother's backyard, for all those people out there that don't know, with just a cell phone. So people pulled up his tweets. And now Twitter, which is a place that I'm not familiar with all the way, but Twitter and other outlets, they're saying like, oh, Black women shouldn't have to support him because of those tweets that he had. Right. Tweets saying, and I sent it to you to have.
Yeah, so I saw that.
Yeah, send this. I mean, he wrote stuff like, black bitches, with the less than symbol, and I don't want nothing black but an Xbox, and his baby mother was Asian or whatever.
Right.
So do you think that we should kind of dismiss him? Because that's what a lot of people were doing. Some people were like, oh, no, we still, should definitely fight for the cause. But then some people were like, well, shit, he ain't care about black people, so why should... Because black women are a lot on the front lines of these issues.
Right.
So a lot of people are like, well, shit,
Well, I didn't, from what I saw in the tweets, I didn't take it as him actually meaning like black women, like African American women. He was referring more to a complexion sort of situation.
True.
It was more of a, and that doesn't make it right, but that's somebody being ignorant in their preference for me. You know what I'm saying? And not to justify it, but that's how I took it. Like this nigga. You know, I've seen it done by plenty of dudes before. Them niggas just as black as, you know, take a Kodak Black situation, for example. And be niggas just as dark talking about, I don't want no black ass bitch, blah, blah, blah. And they don't actually mean their race. They talking about skin complexion. I thought it was stupid. It was ignorant. Realistically, it doesn't warrant his murder at all, you know? So I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, well, he said that. I mean, you know, justify it. And I'm not doing all that because it doesn't justify it at all. Injustice is still an injustice. Right. He's ignorant. I don't know his, for those comments. I don't know his perspective. I don't know what makes people feel like that, you know? So some people, they've had it done to them before, and now they, you know, deflecting, they do it to other people. I don't know what made him adapt that mind state. Right. So I can't really judge, but so much. It was ignorant. I take that for what it is, absolutely, but it doesn't justify him being killed like that.
Yeah, he was still a son. He was still a father. Right. Yeah. Like the comparison, like
some of these niggas are brainwashed. Realistically, like
I don't think it. Of course, it doesn't justify his killing, but I don't think that. I think if you read those comments and it makes you feel like you don't want to support his cause, I don't think you should feel bad about that.
Right. Yeah.
That's true.
Well, as a dark complected woman that he's referring to, he was a coon indeed. He was. He was a certified, biscuit eating, tap dancing coon.
See, I don't talk about the dead like
hey, that is what it is. That is what some people just be coons. You know what I'm saying? I talk about like Barbara Bush. She was a white supremacist. She's dead, God rest her soul, but it is what it is. That's not disparaging. Well, it is kind of, because coons, I look at coons as a negative thing, but that's just a fact. He was a coon. But that does not justify, his murder. But I just feel like this should be a lesson to a lot of men out there, a lot of black men who think like him, that the people who are on the front lines is not Asian women. They're not all of these other, because that was his, child's mother or whatever. But it's us. And a lot of us look like me. So the ones who you can have a preference without disparaging black, dark complected women.
22.
Yeah. He's still young, man. If somebody went back and read every tweet that that's not the person that I am today.
Yes.
And then maybe you won't give me a pass, or maybe you will. I mean, that's up to you. But this nigga's not coming back.
Right.
He's not.
Like,
yeah.
It's bigger fish to fry to me.
Right. It is. It is. I just don't think that we should just dismiss him, throw him under the bus like, oh, even if you're a dark-skinned woman, if you are fighting on a social justice fight to replace the system of white supremacy with the system of justice, you shouldn't let this one go under, because what that does is send a message to the white supremacists, like, all you need to do is find a disparaging tweet and they'll no longer support or care about it. And I'm not rocking with that at all.
The problem with that is we got to learn to be like how they are. We need to show solidarity on a public front. If I got to cheer you out, that was some bad man shit. That's some stuff we got to keep in house.
Right.
Yeah.
Broadcast. I'm not supporting this.
Exactly.
Because all that does is show the disconnect and the lack of unity as a people. So it's like, we really just have to, it's like not embarrassing your peoples in front of other people. Like, I'm going to holler at you about this later, but I'm not going to embarrass you in front of other people.
But that's the danger of social media, because now you basically get an open door to say whatever you want to say to millions and millions of people at any point in time. Forget you said it. It's searchable at any moment. So even though you're making growth, like you said, some of my tweets from 2015, you might go pull up and say, oh, but I still had matured to a point where I didn't cross certain lines.
Right.
But he wasn't allowed to do that.
Right.
Now, I don't think that's, of course, like I said, it's not his fault that he died, but I think it's a show that at that age, look at what his mindset was. So his Twitter would be a snapshot of what his mindset was at that age.
Exactly.
That's the problem. It's not him.
Yeah.
It's the fact that a young black man in a predominantly black area could think these thoughts enough to
say them,
to tweet them, and then something unfortunate happened to him, and now it's a rift, because normally tragedy sparks some kind of change. So now when the tragedy is your life, instead of you having left the foundation of just positive things, good things, now you allow somebody to rip that out and kill the momentum because of what you left behind,
right?
Because it was negative.
So he was still a victim.
He's still a victim
of white supremacy. That mindset is being a victim of white supremacy, that you hate yourself.
Right.
Why can't black men have preferences?
Black men can have preferences.
No, I mean, yeah, we can have preferences, but we're shot down for having them when.
It's about how you present them, though.
Yeah,
No, I mean, I
his
see
was
women. We are all on a social platform. I
Right.
see women talk about, oh, I can't fuck with a nigga with a little dick. This and that, yeah, this and that. If a nigga don't drive, no, let's keep it a buck. If you can't drive, or if he have a kid,
or if
he
he's
has
short.
a certain amount of kids, this and that. And I don't see women getting that same like, oh my goodness, she hates black men. You know what I say? Oh, that's not the type of man that she likes.
Right.
Because I mean, my thing is, to certain degrees, it's like, as far as everyone's attracted to what they're attracted to, I feel like, okay, you have that right or whatever. But a lot of the things that you listed are kind of like materialistic things. If you don't want to date a man with kids, that's your business. If you don't have kids, you want to deal with it. Okay, you want your first kids to be his first kids. Okay, that's legitimate. Do your thing. But like, okay, you want to date a guy who don't have a car. That's, like stuff like that. I feel like when it comes to a lot of times in my personal experience, when I see guys have a preference like that, like I don't like black ass bitches and stuff, it's like you can like what you like and not break down the other group. You can just say, I like light skinned women. It's something about it. I like the skin tone, looks cute against mine, whatever you want to call it. But you don't have to be like, yeah, red bones better than y'all black ass bitches. Like, you don't have
That's
to say
what it usually comes
disparaging
with.
remarks like that. Exactly. You don't have to break them down to build another group. You don't have to do that.
I agree with that. If women were saying, you know what, I'd rather not talk to a man who's not physically blessed. It don't be like that. And you know that. It don't
okay,
be,
but let me answer to that too, because a lot of
comparable,
women, but it really is a false equivalency. And I only say that because a lot of women, like, for example, the short thing, a lot of women don't prefer short men. They prefer tall men over short men, or somebody taller than them, or somebody who's not well endowed or whatever like that. But a lot of that comes because being tall or being big or being built or whatever, or being well endowed, that shows masculinity. And femininity.
Being taller
It
means
is
you're more
a
masculine to
No.
I'm not saying
tall, dark,
that.
handsome shit.
No, I'm not saying that because you're taller than someone makes you more masculine, but it is a symbol of masculinity.
You just said the same thing.
It's a symbol versus
doesn't mean that
not on every single
people
individual
look
basis.
at it like that because that's how it's portrayed. People are like,
yes.
You think about when they describe the ideal man, tall, dark, handsome. That's what they say.
Yes.
So those characteristics get, they correlate to that.
Just
even
by
if it's
nature.
Not actually,
by nature, if you're hunting and you're getting the food and you're lifting the stuff, you're going to be bigger. You're going to be stronger, and that is a sign. That is one of the forms of masculinity. That doesn't mean that some short guy is going to be less masculine than a tall guy, because that's an individual basis. But I'm saying that is a symbol of masculinity.
So are like big boobs and a fatter ass a sign of like feminine? Like, I mean,
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why they're going to buy them.
Because when dudes see the flat chested bitches, y'all don't gas them like y'all do.
They call him a little boy, teenage boy.
They like seeing the soft, supple, vivacious little, all them words.
Yes.
But it's not to say that that's what it is. People just draw the correlation as that being a characteristic of it. That doesn't mean that's what it is, but people make that connection. So, yeah, like...
You was about to say something, Jameel.
I think we good. I think we kind of smoothed on past it. Because it was about the short tall thing. But I think.
I don't think that a short man can't be more masculine or whatever. But it is a symbol. You have to know that we have been conditioned, and just by nature, certain things says certain things. Like if somebody is well endowed, that probably on a subconscious level says he can procreate better, or it can it can reach the cervix easier or whatever. You get what I'm saying?
No, I don't. But go ahead. I'll let you.
You don't understand.
It sounds good.
Understand?
It sounds good. No, it's not
because
about me
if you
understanding.
get short, then it may not be.
I agree with
but
all
that's
this stuff.
not that's.
So
like
I'm going off
a
like when I see women talking. You see how well y'all putting this? It don't be like that.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's what we're trying to break it down. Because we're trying to break it down right now.
Now it's just Twitter. It wasn't just Twitter when we were talking about.
Just Twitter. I said it's Twitter. That's where people are not going to try to break shit down to a science for you. They're going to say it in a way that's facetious, that's going to get retweets, that's going to make people laugh.
That's what I was
the same as my man was doing.
But that wasn't facetious at all.
No, that was hateful. That was hateful. I don't want no black bitches, and black bitches is less than.
It's calling women bitches, period, hateful?
No, it can not always in that context, yes, but not always. I don't think everybody
matters.
Exactly.
I just think
so. Which way is a positive way?
It depends
calling
on
women bitches.
No, it's like 40 different ways to call a bitch a bitch.
Yes. Well, I don't prefer nobody to call me
you
a
look
bitch.
beautiful today, bitch.
No, that doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't.
I know it does. That's what I'm saying. Like
bitch matters when I'm like, bitch. Let me tell That's positive.
When you're talking to a woman.
Man, go ahead, bitch. No, we're not.
Well, it depends on that person's intent. If you see me say, I don't say bitch. So if I say it, it means it in more of a negative way. But if Yatta says it, you know her. It's the individual person.
I'm not calling y'all bitches. We not. I don't care how cool we are.
I don't want you to.
So that's why I said there's no good intent if I call you a bitch.
If it's no good intent, if you call me a bitch.
Some dudes are doing if they dropping dick in somebody, they might be like, yeah, bitch.
I'm not because I can't speak for everybody and what their intent is.
It didn't.
Hey.
Well, yeah, I don't prefer bitch.
Yeah.
But I'm just me. Other people they like that or they don't mind that. But I'm just saying, like when he said it, I took it as hateful because of the tone that I don't want nothing black but an Xbox. In what way could that be positive?
Right.
In what way?
At it in a negative approach.
It's just like
was negative.
You know, like I hear comedians just talk from everything. I listen to Patrice O'Neal and say, and I'm like, yo, these niggas, they don't be joking.
Right.
It's in the form of a joke. They be dead ass serious, and you know what? They be in the audience.
Right.
Give me an example. Right. Give me an
what's
example.
funny about it?
I mean, Corey Holcomb talk about abortions for 2 hours, and it's funny.
But
because it's in a comedy.
She got you.
No,
that was a good one.
No, it's not. She didn't get me because
she got me
said
too.
No,
she got me
if I
too.
said it, it's not going to be
Because
funny.
you're not a comedian.
So you basically get okay, got you.
If I go to a comedy show, I'm expecting you to say shit from a comical stance. I'm not expecting you to stand there and be like, hey, look, bitch, man, I smacked the shit. I'm not looking for you to say that. I'm looking for you to say, you're saying that and it's risque and under other circumstances. Context matters. It's a comedy show. He wasn't doing comedy on Twitter. He was disparaging black women. That's what he was doing.
But he's doing comedy, but he also means it. Those comedians mean that shit.
Well, that's your assessment. They may or may not.
They mean that shit.
Okay, but so what? That's why it's known that comedians get away with saying stuff a lot more than a person that's doing commentary online or
this out.
on a show.
The kind of person though that you are, no matter what you say. Bernie Mac said a lot of wild shit on stage. When Bernie Mac died, you didn't see anybody calling for Bernie Mac's, you know what I'm saying, grave to be none of that. You know what I'm saying? Because the type of person he was spoke far more than anything that he said in a joking manner on stage. Corey Holcomb, who knows? You know what I'm saying? Thank God he's still here. But when he leave, who knows what people gonna say about him? He may be a totally different person to people that know him. You know, it's just
I don't know if you want to disclose that.
I get them yams.
I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? It could be a totally different person. So it all depends on what you leave behind. Unfortunately, this dude didn't leave anything behind but these remarks that were spoken in a very negative. We don't know that.
Huh?
But that's all we know.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? That's all we know.
What
because
made somebody look for that, though?
Nothing else came out.
I mean, you know, I don't know.
That's the thing now. Everybody look up old
As soon as you make it big, like this, like the celebrities,
old
this and that, like, remember when Wale, all the rappers that he fuck with now, they was like, this nigga's born, he's some shit, this and that. Like, it was like 40 different rappers. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like how, even like when you running like for
I wouldn't
politics
delete
now.
it myself.
What's the guy who's running for mayor?
Where?
It's a black guy. He's running for
mayor.
I gotta look it up. He's running for mayor, like some city, and they was like, "Oh, he's a coon." Like he basically was bringing up stuff like he's making like negative comments towards like women, and women are getting him the fuck out of there,
as they should, because a lot doesn't. A person can change, but a lot doesn't really fundamentally change unless something happens. But usually they're the same.
Life changing experience. But this is what it said. Someone tweeted and said, "Black is beautiful" with a heart eyes emoji, and he said, "I don't want nothing black but an Xbox. Dark bitches bring dark days." And he also said that again, "I don't want nothing black but an Xbox" with a 100 emoji. And then he had black bitches with the lesser than symbol. "I don't want nothing black but an Xbox." So that's apparently his go-to line. Wasn't funny the first time, but you ran it back 3 more times to get no fucking likes or keys or nothing. So, good job. But
and he interrupted somebody when they said black is beautiful.
Right. You could have scrolled and kept it moving, but you stopped and dropped some bad ass shit. I'm sorry, that's some bad ass shit to say.
It is.
Granted, I feel like you feel the way that you feel. If that's how you feel for whatever reason, whatever drew you to that, it's wild as shit to me. But hey, those are your demons.
Right.
You deal with them. But for you to say some shit like that, like I said, you don't have to break down another group to build whatever it is that you like up. That's your business.
But he wasn't even doing it in a comparative way, right?
Right. He was just rude.
Just straight up hate.
But that's someone made a comment like that. I had retweeted it the other day where they were basically like, black men will be like, I like white women. And then black women will be like, okay. And they'll be like, I really like white women. We're like, okay. yeah, I like white women because they do what I say and them submit, and black women is some shit. And then when we're like, wait, what? See, y'all bitches is better. Like, we you know, like.
Man, you say you like a white woman, and then a black woman say you weak.
That is true. A lot of people will say that. A lot of people will say that.
But black women don't get into a rage for real until you start doing that comparative thing.
Well,
we like white women because they're so much better than you in these aspects. And then it turns into a like, what, nigga?
But see, for me, when I see someone say, I like white women, or I prefer Asian women, or I prefer, light-skinned women with curly hair, I don't look at that as in, oh, you don't want me because you weak or whatever. I automatically go to something happened to him. He's back. He must don't like his mother. He must doesn't like his family. Or he's so conditioned to the European beauty standard that he's fucked up.
Or some shit like that.
Okay.
I mean, I just look at it as in he's brainwashed and he's fucked up. Like something is mentally off and he needs counseling. Gotcha. Because if you automatically, yes. Because if you don't like something, if you don't like yourself and you don't like Kodak Black said he needs therapy because he like, you see this, he even put his own arm up and said, I don't want nobody to look like that. And he
like your man Charlemagne.
What you mean?
He didn't want to be dark skinned.
First of all, that's my uncle. That's first and foremost. My uncle's wife is dark skinned, and I know her very well.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So he had a skin pigmentation problem, and he just chose the lighter side because he was all those shades that he had.
He definitely was a little splotchy.
Yeah, people act like he wasn't splotchy. Why would if the rest of his body is the lighter part, why would he just like, you know what, give me the dark spot. Let me put all the dark skin stuff on my face.
You be making excuses for this nigga, your uncle. I swear.
It is what it is. He interviewed his dermatologist on the Breakfast Club.
You know what? I appreciate strong and wrong. I love it. When you got a stance, you're going to stick to it.
Show that nigga, he really did.
That nigga, he don't want to be dark.
I'm not a doctor. He brought his doctor on there. He is dark. Like, he still is
he's
dark.
lighter than what he was.
Yeah, but he's still dark.
He got the Sammy Sosa.
He did not.
That's definitely the
First of all, my uncle.
He really got the Sammy Sosa.
Sammy Sosa is mulatto as fuck right now. Like, nah, we're not.
Sammy Sosa look Hispanic.
Sammy Sosa lighter than me right now.
Yes.
Charlemagne on his way. It's steps. You can't go right. You can't go to full. You know what I'm saying?
No.
You're done.
Yeah.
You definitely stick a fork in him.
I think that the difference in that is that it's one thing for you to like or be open to your options, saying, hey, you don't limit yourself to black women, cool, you know what I'm saying, that's your business. You want to go test the waters elsewhere and, do your thing, that's your business. It's still when you don't, like what? It's one thing if you just but how do you not like your own race, especially when I don't understand that.
Oh, yeah. You don't just wake up one day and just say, I don't like black people.
When you said, when you start knocking black women, but if you just like white women,
you like what you like.
You like what you
like.
Right.
But I always think about why do you like white women?
I feel like your mother didn't love you.
Because look, at the same time, what do people always say? Oh, you can't help who you love who you love, but you exclusively love white women?
I can't speak from that.
Right, you can't help who you love because you're not even giving yourself a chance to love black women. So you can't help who you love.
Exactly, and if that's your preference, cool. I don't give I really don't give a fuck.
Right, but just maybe we should have.
But why though?
Maybe we should have some people call in. Maybe black guys that date white
we
women.
Yes,
let's have that. Let's do that.
Cool, Chopper gonna go off in them comments.
No, because I can't tell you why. Like my mind don't work that way. I can't tell you why I would look at a white woman and say.
Because guess what?
We need to have that on
because guess what? Every other race is usually, for the most part, deals with their own women. Like they just prefer their own women.
That's it.
So we're the only, as far as black men, they're the only ones who date outside the race as much. Everybody else, of course, Asians and all them Native Americans, they date outside their race as well, but not as much as black men. So there is something there which needs therapy.
Titties and ass, man. That's what they're talking about, man.
Shit.
Right,
Gabby Sidibe got titties and ass.
She got too much titties and ass.
She got us.
God damn, shorty.
She got him in more than...
my bad, before...
She got him in more than just the designated areas, though. She got some titties right here.
But you know what?
Then you can't say that.
For somebody, that's gonna be enough.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But I'm just saying, so it's not just titties and ass because it's a lot of people who prefer Asians.
Well, my thing is you gonna get the titties and ass the most from the black women.
And that's where the titties and ass come from.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You go to Africa, everybody fat.
I want to know what they talk talk about? Like, what do?
I don't fucking know.
Right after a long day, like how do you
What do
come
y'all
home
talk
to your white? And it's no shade, but how you come home to your white woman like, man, look, man, I got passed up for this promotion. I've been here for 20 years. I got 2 degrees.
She going to call up her network and get you a...
Not all the time.
Don't worry, I'll call Chandler.
It's always a Chandler with you, dog.
Javante needs a job.
Right. What's your boss's name?
But a lot of times that's not even always true, because a lot of times when these white women, they outside of their race, especially with black men, they get exiled from their community. They look at them as as less than.
Only if he doesn't have money.
Yes.
Because these white women, if you dating these basketball players, or nah.
Oh,
Or if
yeah.
it's a broke white woman.
Oh, yeah.
To the family.
He got the money in the
To the
prestige
family.
too. It can't
Right.
just
Yes.
be the regular little,
Exactly.
I make $90K. Like,
So you ain't about to
No, I'm
get
talking
no
about
regular.
I'm talking about
Yeah, I
dope
know.
cheese.
Yeah. Or if you get, kicked out of Starbucks, arrested for just being black, you can't talk to your girl about that. So guess what? Guess who brought in Starbucks in this bitch?
prove it.
Right.
Go look at my Instagram story. My name is
That is not
@Sabrae
me.
on Instagram.
And she didn't bring in a black coffee. She got a whole bunch of cream in it.
And she had a little napkin. Wrapped around it. She was trying to hide the Starbucks.
That video is Photoshop. I'm just letting you know. But the views of the Sabrae Show Live do not reflect my...
And she ordered online because she a value member.
Oh, you got
Wow.
that
You're
app.
definitely reaching, first of all. Second of all, y'all see me drink wine. I don't know what why would I mix wine and Starbucks?
Shit, I don't know.
Dang,
Why would I mix
wow.
wine
But why
and
you use the
Starbucks,
bathroom that long a few minutes ago?
First of all, he went to the bathroom. I didn't go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom yesterday.
Come on.
You chugged all that caramel and cream and shit in the back.
Well, that sounds real wild. You need to relax.
Right.
I need you to...
Check the video and see it for yourself.
Really
It's
do.
Photoshopped.
It's on it. Yeah.
I'ma
It's
put it on the
Photoshop. She gonna
page.
crop my head and upper body on somebody else's
No,
lower body.
hell no. I'm going to put it on the
That's
show page. Follow
Why
the
y'all
Sabrae
look
Show
like
Live.
Ezekiel Elliott running the
Frappuccino.
She keeps saying
Extra
Them
whipped
little
cream.
legs is moving fast as shit.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, speaking of the
I ain't
whole
get it from
Starbucks
Philly.
situation, speaking of that whole situation, should we still support Starbucks? Because I feel like their apology was weak as fuck, and
Do
we
you?
should just.
I mean, how much stronger can it be? Like, I feel like
No, they should have been like, you know what? We are totally sorry. We are embarrassed that this happened. We don't teach our people that. We don't tell them to do that. And this person is fired immediately.
was it a franchise or was it a store? Was it a corporate?
It doesn't, but
franchise,
because
right?
it was such a
But
popular story, a corporate should have came and said.
But that matters though, because if it was a corporate owned store, then they have the authority to do that. But if it was a franchise, they can't really say, "Hey, you own your franchise, but you need to fire that person."
Yes, they can.
Why can't a corporation just come in? You know what? We fucked up.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
we
they- but
fucked
no,
up.
but
This person is fired
but Starbucks
immediately.
has really been sitting there. But I don't know about the termination thing. That's something I would have to look into when it comes to franchise versus corporate owned stores. But I will say they've been arguing with white people for the past week.
They have.
Who have been upset because they decided, okay, we're gonna shut down on this day, and they're losing millions of dollars to do that to train these people on whatever. Okay, cool.
Look.
People are really like, nah, what the fuck? So I can't get Starbucks because you want to cater to some fucking crybabies, basically. They're like, look, nah, this shit is unacceptable.
If they
We
shut
don't
them
teach people
stores
like this.
down and train and get them dudes some money, that's enough. I mean, for me.
And guess who they're going to pay? And guess who they're going to
I do
pay?
still
for the-
feel like somebody should be fired. Yeah, that didn't work out.
They
at all.
should. They should definitely fire that employee. And
Right.
corporate definitely has the power to do so.
Somebody definitely should have got fired though. That's
Yeah.
that's my one issue is that somebody should have got fired. As
And
far
then-
as what they're doing, I don't feel
Yeah.
like there's anything wrong with what they're doing. I feel like it's actually pretty suitable in it's because it's like, okay, aside from additionally firing that person, what else can you really do? Like, but
That is it.
Just give 'em some money.
Right, but they've that too. They've
That's it.
taken their
Yeah.
stance against it. Okay, I can respect that. What's fucked up is just that was a whoever did that shit, that was the worst judgment call on
It
their behalf.
was.
I don't feel
It
like
was
they
racist.
I don't feel
in
like
fact.
they put that shit in the Starbucks handbook. Like, yeah, if
No.
you see some niggas call.
But we know white people
But they came
call
in
the
2
police.
minutes, dog. It was 2 minutes.
I know. And then
Literally
they did.
2 minutes.
Right.
They came in that joint in 2
Yeah,
minutes.
was
later.
they sitting in a parking lot? God damn.
That's what
But
I said. They must
listen,
have watched
though.
them when they pulled up.
Listen, my thing is that they should have definitely fired that person and said, look, we apologize. This is not a part of our policy. We are so embarrassed. And this person is fired effective immediately. But you know what they said in the article? this person no longer works at this location. And we all know that white supremacists don't get fired. They get transferred.
Right.
And that was not good enough because we support their business. So heavily, we support their businesses a lot. So
Right.
what they should have done was fire that person. And then I would have been cool. But nah. So and then the apology was like kind of weak. Like, oh, whatever. So I'm like, we should just replace them. We should replace them. We don't fuck all that boycotting shit.
Right.
Because that boycott shit is temporary. We can replace them. And like I was saying to Jameel earlier, because you said you had a meeting there recently, but
Right.
I understand in certain locations and whatever, but like I said to him, if you have a Starbucks and a Panera Bread in the same location and a Wegmans or whatever, in
gonna go to
whatever
Panera.
city you have, go to those other
Oh, no,
places if you
absolutely.
can.
Panera got Wi-Fi?
You know what Starbucks
Yes.
would help? If they come down on their breakfast sandwiches. Too expensive.
It'd be
Too expensive.
I
be
can't.
bomb
I'm looking
now.
forward to saving money, honestly.
But you know what though? At the end of the day, like you said, if we really want to start to get to a point, we can't wait for them to expose the behaviors that white people are like are known to have. Why we got to keep waiting? You can almost the way I deal with white people is like this, right? And I work with a lot of white people in doing what I do, and I kind of get to a point where they have to kind of show me who they are. You know what I'm saying? And I got to feel comfortable with that because I'm going to assume based on
The worst.
my
and then
knowledge.
Let you prove me,
Yeah, and I let you prove me wrong.
Just like they do us.
Just like they do
Guilty
us.
until proven innocent.
And that's for me that works perfectly fine. But in the grand scheme of things, when we need to get to a point where we have our own establishments, then if we decide we want to go to Starbucks, we might. But we don't need to go to Starbucks to get our coffee fixed because we already supporting our own. It's just an option. Right now,
How can they show you that you can trust them? Like,
It needs only a couple
it's just
conversations.
we talk about a couple things. We talk about a couple conversations. There's certain things I listen for. You know what I'm
got
saying?
keywords.
how they
Certain-
respond to like
how they respond to
current
certain
events.
things, is actions. There's some of them I look if they try to sneak nigga or variation or be like, I listen to such and such, and then they be like,
I would have voted
you know
for
what
my
I'm saying?
third time.
Right, like
That's
because
doing too much.
I've worked with white dudes that will try to show you like especially older white dudes that they was cool in the '80s and shit, and they'll try to tiptoe around that story they want to tell you where they gonna say nigga, but like in a story mode. To see
Reebok
if you
friends.
you see what I'm saying? So
Those
and
key words.
yeah, so you it don't take long. It don't take long.
No, it really
Really
doesn't.
don't.
It really doesn't, because they're usually going to show you something that's going to be a tell that like, yeah, nah.
This person is
Yeah.
suspect.
But you usually, you gotta trust your instincts with people as you start to vibe with them, because usually a lot of times it's just like somebody do something to you and you not surprised that they did it. You've known better than to fuck with them in the first
Right.
place.
I give everybody like the benefit of the doubt. I know that may sound like crazy.
No, I do
Because
too.
it depends on I got a close boy, a white boy named Dave.
But
Like, just talking to him, sometimes they don't know. Like, I got a coworker. I forget what city he's raised in Wisconsin, but he's like, yo, we didn't even have Black History Month. That's crazy to me. Like, I thought that was like standard across the United States. He said there were no black people. So like when he hears these stories, like he's not like dumbfounded. He's not trying to be naive. He really does
they
not
don't
know.
know.
Right.
So
Right,
it's
and
like,
that's cool. And just because you're a racist by, I guess, osmosis, still makes you a threat to me. And so I still have to listen for those keywords because a lot of times our lives depend on it. And so normally when you talk to somebody, you'll get a vibe, you'll get an energy, you'll get a code word, especially if you study white supremacy.
Right.
You'll get those code words and those thought patterns, and they will show themselves. And you don't always gotta like be like, oh nah, you a white supremacist. You just know how to put them where you need to put them
Right.
for the time you need to put them in. Especially if you work
not
with them.
to expect from
Right.
them.
Exactly. Know
Right.
what conversations not to have with them and stuff like that. But, it just is what they out here. And that lady that called the police on those guys, I'm not giving her a pass because, she might have been ignorant. She might have
Nah,
not
fuck
seen any
that.
black people. Like, nah, just because you're
pass.
racist by osmosis, you're still a threat.
My thing
I
is
trust-
get no pass.
I trust him when I catch him stealing something at work.
Because you got something on them.
Now we on common level. We on
See,
common ground.
I don't even trust
We
them
on
then,
common ground.
because
I gotta
they
make
do
sure I
it,
see him
they'll tell on
too.
your ass.
I be in the cafeteria. I say,
Nah, unless you got it on camera,
Chuck.
I still
Hey,
don't
Chuck.
trust you.
Okay.
They fuck around and catch you stealing some shit and will still tell on you, and who gonna get
Black
the
people
benefit
don't
of the
steal.
Yeah.
Who gonna get on the benefit
Definitely
of the doubt over
black
you?
people
The
sometimes
white person?
borrow
Yeah.
and put it
Yeah.
back later, but black people don't steal.
Well,
Yeah.
whatever. The bottom line is, let them catch you doing some shit. They probably still snitch on your ass. And then when it comes down to, but this nigga just stole, 4 reams of paper.
Yeah, but
his word against mine.
You know the
I love
craziest
that.
part is some of the people that look like you be worse worse than worse. Sorry,
so
sorry,
good.
Mom.
We know, man.
So good.
Be worse. Well,
That's
didn't
the
mean to
word of the
embarrass you
day.
like that.
Worser.
Worser.
No, we're not gonna put that in the atmosphere.
Worser. You know, I'm just saying. But yeah, it'd be the people that look like you might treat you even worse.
I mean, that's a given in any community, though.
Yeah.
But I still.
But it's even more prevalent. It's like that. What's my man on Life? My man that worked for the what's his name?
God damn, how do
What's
The
character?
gun line boss.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got. That's why we have to isolate the coons.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
Those
But you
are
will run
coons,
into
yes.
those.
But yes, but I
want
still
that
give my
approval
people
so bad
the.
that they'll throw niggas under
Yes,
the
but
bus.
I
Yeah.
still trust my own before I trust them, though, because I know by nature how they
Right.
even came about
Right.
is deceptive
Right.
and very demonic, obviously.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
unspoken
But by
black
nature-
communication that you just have with
Right.
strangers. That
Because
you
a
just
lot of
like.
even the gun line dude, he was just a product of white supremacy.
Yeah.
It was either you got some niggas that is just gonna be like either they gonna get me or I'm gonna help them get you. Just like African.
either.
Right. I mean,
It's the difference
nobody.
between black people and niggas too. Let's be clear.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But I think we got to get to a point like we all know the beginning point. You know what I'm saying? We know that this is systematic. We know that this is brainwashing. We know that this is this and that. But at what point do we say again, we gonna change the narrative and we gonna
Today.
stop saying that this is white supremacy and this is this and that? Because it is. We know.
Yeah.
But what are we gonna start doing? Like, what? At what point are we gonna say, all right, we're not gonna keep using this as a crutch? We know what happened to us. What do we need to do to get to the other side? Because we got day in, day out, even with the whole Black Lives Matter thing, and I've never really jumped on that train. But from what I see, it's a bunch of whining. And I'm not a fan, and it's not to disrespect anybody's dreams or beliefs. I'm not a fan of protesting. I'm not a fan of marching. I'm not a fan of yelling and screaming. I'm a fan of action. What are we gonna do?
Well, I feel like we're doing it now with platforms like this. They got a lot of organizations by black people, a lot of businesses by black people who is combating white supremacy, and you can still be solution based while knowing your history and being well aware. I don't believe in the thing because you didn't say this, but Kanye would say this a lot, and everybody knows how much I love Kanye about forget what happened, forget the past, so you can have a different mindset. And to a degree, I understand where he's trying to get at, but he's incorrect in his thinking because you cannot forget, or else you will be, you possibly will, repeat
blind
it.
to where you going.
Exactly,
You
but
have to remember.
you can still know who did what and when, so that you don't repeat it, and you can make it your best next move. But you can still be solution based, and that's the problem with that you come across when you see people talking about.
Because it's understanding, so you cannot forget. But if you just remember the problem but never learn from it, then you just you create an emotional draw. So now you just remember the problem. So really you holding on to the pain.
Right.
So you forget the pain, you understand the solution, and then you remember the solution. You know what I'm saying? You remember the understanding that you got from that bad situation. Right. But when you don't understand it, and I think that's the point that a lot of the times we too arrogant to say there may be some things going on in life that's bigger than me, and I don't understand it, and I need to be in a place where I could be in a childlike state where I could be willing to learn. A lot of black people, no matter the age, will not say that. That's why a lot of 60-year-olds are still 20 years old at heart, because at 20 years old, they thought they had it all figured out and never...
Religion helps out with that, too.
Oh, yeah.
Religion. We ain't got to get into that today.
Yeah,
That'd be a whole nother day. But religion helps with that pacifying of things and just being like, oh, well, this is not white supremacy because God said blah, 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 whatever.
I feel like a lot of people just complain, but they're not taking any corrective actions to change the status of the community.
Yes.
It sounds cool, this and that. Like, when's the last time you did
Bandwagon
anything to help
behavior.
your community?
Yeah.
They can't tell you.
Right. And it's
We'll
simple
break
things.
somebody down who's trying to do something, no matter how small it is. They're working towards a solution, and these same people be like, "Well, what is this doing? And what is that doing?" It's like, okay, but what are you doing?
Exactly.
It's crickets. So it's like, if you're not going to help, just don't hurt it. Just stay out of it.
Exactly, and that's absolutely true. And you don't have to hurt it. And it's small things that people can do to help it. They don't have to be a super revolutionary leader. You can do simple things. Buying black. If you can, you have WeBuyBlack.com, which has a lot of, and I met the dude, Sharif, and he has basically a platform where he lets a lot of people sell their stuff. So you want to, if you're buying soap or if you're buying laundry detergent, dish detergent, batteries, they have those things. So that's something that people can do without standing on the front lines or being on Twitter all the time. That's simple.
You're doing that right now because I didn't even know that. So all the subscribers that listen to the show, you might get 10 people that goes to his website, and now you're supporting him. So it does.
Exactly.
Everything is not marching, taking off work. There are different ways to contribute.
I want to give you an example. So in the last chapter of the Destruction of Black Civilization book, I referenced the book before, Chancellor Williams. He lays out a plan for basically pulling us out of this mess, and it all starts with economics.
Yes.
Money is the thing that you need to live, to thrive, to build for the next generation. I don't care how you slice it. You can be as spiritual as you want to be. If you don't have no money or no type, you ain't going to have it. So when we look at communities, especially in our communities, you know what I'm saying? We're community-based kind of people. Right. So one person, they may, I think, a lot of times, especially with, like you said, the whitewashing of a lot of things, They want you to focus on the individual, right? You say Coachella, you look at Beyonce concert, you see Beyonce, but it's 50 other people on stage that made that performance.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Okay. It took a group effort. And in the last chapter of that book, he basically outlined what needed to be started. And it's community-based organization and ownership in each community. You see what I'm saying? This is where we got to start. It's not politicking and lobbying for policies to change. It's getting our money straight.
Yeah.
And once we got land and we got farming and we got companies that make our necessities and our toiletries and our, you know what I'm saying? We got maintenance and we can build our houses and then we can do this. We can get our own. We don't need to go ask you no more because we've been begging since the 60s, the 50s, and the 40s, and it don't work. They're not an understanding people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They'll give you just enough to turn you around and send you out the door, keep you happy for 10 years until you come back and ask for some more.
Right.
But throughout all of this time period, we've never built on the fundamental things. Like we said, if a dude stop, if your major places closed down, Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, people wouldn't be able to get medicine. They would die within days.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
That's
like,
so true.
The small things.
Clark Anderson on Black Labor, White Wealth, he talks about the same thing.
Yeah.
And economics is definitely key. And that's why I said one of the main things you could do is buy black first. If you can, of course, we don't have everything that's comparable to what we get on a regular basis. But if we can either build that
somewhere.
But because a lot of people think that, I hate that whole, y'all need to vote. Asians vote, they're the least voting community, but they get everything they want because they have businesses in the areas. They have they have an economic base. So they don't have to. They can say, we ain't got to vote for shit. We're paying you, politician, we need X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And that's how we need to be.
Well, we need to also adapt the mind state of not trying to get everything in one fell swoop. Like a lot of black people want minimal investment, maximum return. It doesn't work like that. We have to put the effort in, and we have to accept that, it's going to be small victories. It's not going to be one massive victory. It's going to be little victory here along the way. And we got to accept that for what it is and stop downplaying it, because when you downplay, you create that negative disposition, and people just like, well, we not moving fast enough, fuck this shit. When the reality is, these are the small victories that build you up to your end game. And it's like, you got to accept that for what it is.
I agree.
That's a very good point.
Very good point.
I wasn't the biggest fan of Obama, but I know he got a lot of slack because people were expecting him like, well, what did he do? Like, people wanted him to turn like the whole earth to like the Source Awards or something like that. I'm not saying you, but there were people like, I'm like, come on, man.
But he didn't do anything specifically for black people. He didn't. He did specific things. He was a good image. And I will say that I don't regret him being in office, but people do give Obama too much credit because he didn't do anything specifically for black people, but he could have tried. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see him at least try, because he did specific things for other people. People's like, oh, he's not the president of black people, so you got to do stuff for all people. He's not the president of gay people, but he did stuff for them. He's not the president of Jewish people, but he did stuff for them. He's not the president of all these other specific groups that he did stuff for. He didn't. But when it came to us, it's like, oh, if I do healthcare right, y'all gonna get the residuals from that too. But that's for everybody.
I would have liked them.
It's not for everywhere. Some people are like minority, like.
People have more radical expectations for him. Is really what it is.
I just wanted him to try.
Look at Trump.
Trump got in office and get all types of executive orders.
If he was as arrogant, if Obama was as arrogant as Trump is about his feelings towards black people, I mean,
he would have been impeached. He would have been the fuck out of there.
But you know what though? I think
He would. I mean,
but then
he doesn't have
the fact that he didn't do anything specifically for black people. Whether he could or couldn't, that's on him. But he did it, and a lot of people say, "Oh, yes, he did." No, he didn't.
They put him in there. He was an image. Now,
Yes.
what I will say is for people that even saw it, without looking into what he did specifically with the bills that passed for young black boys and girls, it's an image that may inspire them to do something. And that's all I anticipated to see from it, because I knew that office is not controlled by the person that's in the position.
Right,
it's the money behind it.
Right.
So I knew it was going to be just like every other presidency where paper was determining what was voted and what was... But the image...
How can we blame him then?
I
If
can't.
no one has that
But it's not blame him.
It's
It's just saying that is what it is.
Yeah.
Because even when I say that, he didn't do anything specifically for black people get offended by that.
Right.
And I'm not saying it to disparage him. It's just to say that's a fact. He didn't.
Right.
I'm not putting him down. I do appreciate the image that he brought with the black wife, a real African American, not a light skinned, biracial, and racially ambiguous. Michelle Obama was a black woman.
No, it's not to downplay light skinned women.
It's
but
not.
It's just,
So what?
It's
It's a
to
good-
not
it's a
perpetuate
good-
a stereotype.
yes,
though.
it is.
Because
And
you
it's a
can't
good image
fake
to see.
like the light skin, long hair was not just like the epitome of black women.
What you guys say? Let me know.
I hope you fucked your shape up. No,
Please.
First of all, my hairline is already receding. Okay,
Well-
I'm at the convertible this motherfucker like in 1 year.
Let's
Right,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
not.
That's
trying to pull
You
the
don't
top
know
of
when you
my-
be shaping me up.
It's
It
the
don't be.
situation
No.
of perpetuating a stereotype, and that's the reality. Like I said, you already knew the light skin, long hair image. That imagery of that being like the highest level of black
Yes.
womenism has been around
Yes.
for decades. It is what it is. So to see him, I mean, you come out there, you got Michelle with you. Michelle just she I mean, as highly educated,
Yes,
and amazing
beautiful.
as she is. Somebody who that look like my aunt. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
it's not this.
You don't got no light skin on?
No, and not say. Shut up
asking.
before I smack the shit.
You get what she's saying.
Yes, I have light skin
Man,
aunts. The
we-
point
we
is,
get it.
Black
she
women
looks-
so aggressive.
but she's somebody.
Angry.
She's somebody who you look at her and you feel like, you know what I'm saying, that's somebody in your family. That's
Yes.
your auntie.
Right,
That's your
We can
right.
relate
you know what
to
I'm
that.
saying?
Right,
Yeah, she just
right.
looked so. She looked and carried herself so.
She was fat too.
So,
Young. We had a first lady with them yams. Young was like, you know what? That's like
Very great body, aged well, aged better than any first lady that's
right.
ever
the
been
most
in that house.
educated,
Yeah.
decorated first lady to ever
Definitely the-
grace that White House. Like,
Monique got
Yeah.
you saying decorated.
nah,
Yeah, she was the most decorated.
Yeah, that
She's
was
definitely the best looking first lady
by far.
ever in the history.
I've never
It's
seen
not
a
even
good looking one.
That was an ass
Never.
reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Never.
What Cat Williams say? He said, man, I just
And
feel
they
like
was
you
all
hug her and she
racist.
smell like cocoa butter and Motion's hair conditioner.
Yeah.
For real though. And she
Yeah.
fresh out the-
Yes,
she
but
fresh
that
out
was
the
a good image to
shop.
see because
It
a lot
was.
of, like I said, as a black woman and a dark skinned black woman who's not mixed with anything, which a lot of us, well, I don't know, whatever, but that's not the point. But anyway, to see like the images in Black Panther, I've never seen that before. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? I've grown in my consciousness a lot since I was a child, but I didn't necessarily need that. But to see that, I've never seen that before.
Right.
So to see Obama and his wife, who looks like somebody who could look like me, it looks attainable. It looks like, okay, we can, especially to kids.
Right.
Like that could be me.
But we got to remember, our ancestors came in all shades.
Yes.
All,
Yes.
because even for me growing up as a light-skinned kid, because I used to be way lighter than I am now. So a little light-skinned kid with green eyes, of course, everybody first, he must be mixed. No.
Right.
Both sides, my father is very, very dark. You know what I'm saying? My mother's a little lighter and she got green eyes, but everybody else on that side of the family above her
Right.
is dark. My grandfather, her father was dark. So I've traced up both sides of my
Right.
family up to about 5 generations. I ain't found a white person yet. So what I did when I did my DNA, it directed me to Congo being a large percentage of, and the people over there. No, Cameroon. I'm sorry.
Right.
The people over there are known for being of lighter skin and having different color eyes, but they're
Yeah.
pure blood Africans.
Yes.
So we also got to be aware that those pitfalls of somebody setting up this light skinned woman with long hair to be that's a trap. That was set up for us, but at the same time, we can't downplay the light skinned women with long
No.
hair because it's not they
Right.
they
No,
just.
but how many times have we seen that image being perpetuated to us for a reason?
It's
to
intentional.
Show
It's
that
intentional.
the closer
And it goes
you
back
are to
house
white,
nigga, feel nigga.
the
It's
better you
intentional.
look.
It's
exactly.
intentional.
So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that because you're light skinned with curly hair that you're less than or that I'm better or other black women are better. I'm
Right.
just saying that we've never seen that. If a little
always
girl,
get
because you
that
go in a black
imagery.
community, you go look in the black community at the kids, more of them are gonna look like Michelle Obama than to somebody who's from where you were referencing.
Jet? I saw all different shades on Beauty of the Week.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's a black-owned
That's a black magazine.
Jet
is out of business.
No, that's true. But what it is really is like you always see that imagery perpetuated though, and it's not like you said. It's not to downplay light-skinned women. I mean, like I'm on the cusp. You know what I'm saying? But it's like not to downplay it at all because it doesn't shut your ass up. It don't mean that you're any less black than what you are because colorism goes both ways.
Yes.
The same way. Stop.
Let her finish.
It's like colorism goes the same way because it's darker skinned women that'll tell a light skinned woman she's not black enough.
Right.
So it goes both ways.
A lot of that goes on.
It goes both ways.
That's what I'm saying. We got to be.
But people were excited to see that imagery with more, richer, like heavily melanated people in that movie because we never get that.
It's not a balance.
So I get it.
If there was a balance, there would be no issue.
What y'all would think would have happened if Obama's wife was white?
Oh my God.
And the nigga white.
First of all,
he's half white.
He's more.
He's logic.
He's half white.
He's more logic than J. Cole.
Nigga, he got an African
father. He's definitely more J. Cole. He's black.
Hey,
he's blacker than
He
J.
ain't
Cole.
J. Cole.
Logic is.
He more logic.
Logic, no.
Logic is
Obama had black hair, brown skin.
Right.
I'm not talking about look. I'm talking about
he walked like his nuts hang.
mentality.
Like definitely had the mule stroll.
But you can't be but so much who you want to be in that position. That position is going to restrict you.
You're a puppet, period.
lot,
no matter
period.
who you are. Even Trump, when he got in there, he's not.
Trump,
he
Clinton.
said he's going to do the wall and do all of this wild shit, and he did all these executive orders, and nothing got passed. So that just shows you. But I just like the fact that he tried to cater to his base.
Right.
And that's all I wanted from Obama.
Right.
No, I feel you.
It was good imagery. It was good words. It was good. It was a good 8 years. People felt different. You remember the first night when he won the election?
Jeezy and Nas was playing the president.
He did nothing beneficial. It just wasn't targeted to us specifically.
Exactly. And that's all I'm saying.
That shows you how powerful imagery is now. But the problem with that is when we get so caught up in the imagery and then we don't do the work. Right. See, for the past 8 years, everybody want to blame Obama, but you didn't let that imagery inspire you to do something different than you did when Bush was president.
Into a shitstorm
You see what I'm saying? So
and had a lot of cleaning up to do.
A lot of black people went into that presidency wanting Obama to make those changes. Obama was just supposed to be the inspiration that made everybody get on their shit. We got a black president. I'm about to be the best black person I can, and that just didn't happen.
And we don't vote locally. Like we'll vote for president.
True.
People can't tell you who the governor is.
That's
People
true.
can't tell you who the mayor is. Like people only vote for the president.
And if you want to talk about voting, that's if you're going to vote, if you're going to advocate for this whole voting situation, that's where it counts. And your community leaders, your mayors, your you know what I'm saying, your city
state representatives,
state
all
representatives, your governor. That's where it matters because that's when you're dealing with your on a daily basis is your local proximity. Like you worry about the damn president.
I don't vote.
And that's fine.
Well, I mean, that's your right. Because people didn't die for you to have to vote. People died for your right.
But you know what? Even when we get to that. No. Because I'm gonna say, even when we get to the whole people died, because yes, people did die to fight for certain rights to vote.
For the right.
But who said that was right?
Well,
who said because somebody died for a cause? What if I feel like separatism was best, and I feel like we should have stayed away from them peoples, and then them people didn't die for me.
Well, I mean, it's about the respecting. I respect that they died for the right, and I appreciate the fact that I have a right to.
Because you shouldn't be denied.
But I have a choice.
Right. You shouldn't be denied the right. You should have the same right to do what everyone else is doing. Now, if you choose not to exercise that right, then that's your right. There's nothing wrong with that. But the fact is, you're supposed to have the right in the first place.
But see, I think a lot of the times it's programmed to us that we got to carry the burden of every decision that our ancestors made. So if you say anything to the contrary, if you say I don't want to vote, somebody gonna say your grandmother, your older people in your family gonna say, well, somebody died for you to be able to do that.
For me to be able to say I don't want to vote and not say I can't vote. That's what she died for. She died for me to be able to say, you know what, I don't want to vote this year. That's what you say to that.
I disagree with all three of you guys, but I don't mean it wrong.
Well,
what I'm
that's
saying?
fine.
It's some burdens I feel like we should have to carry. I just feel like we wouldn't even be in the position that we are if they didn't do half the things that they did.
Right.
I get it.
For real, I feel like we are not as strong. Like we were talking about, like the whole protest and like people like knocking people for doing stuff that they won't even do themselves. You know what I mean? Like I remember, I forgot what it was. Maybe it was like a year ago, but people, I think they blocked off 395.
Right.
Or some shit. And people like, oh, that's just going to cause traffic. I got to work.
Right.
but you want to reap the benefits of the results of their protests.
Right.
But you knocking them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Right.
I'm not saying everything.
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? But there are some things I'm like, yo, I wouldn't even be in this position if it
Well-
wasn't for my grandfather or, my great grandfather.
Right.
But we also have to know that what they did worked for that time.
Right.
We see since then not much has benefited us from protesting. So what we have to do is evolve that and see, okay, what can we do that's next level, that is just like in the Bible or people that live by the Bible. You can't live directly by it. You have to make it modern to the time.
Right.
You have to learn from and the mistakes that they made.
Right.
And then that's what we
Right.
do. We do it. We evolve that.
gotta
We can
step it
sit
up.
down, but I don't like racism. I don't think that's going to be like solved by protesting. You know what
I
I mean? Like,
agree.
just
That's why
hatred.
we
But but when people say much hasn't changed, I don't agree with that. Like,
Well, what has changed?
we couldn't sit and eat with fucking white people.
I mean,
Well,
but who really
but-
cares
but-
about, like, I don't
but
want to eat
that-
them motherfuckers anyway.
That
to be honest.
changed. That changed when white people started taking offense to it. It didn't change because black people. It's some white people had to come out and say, because all through them marches and all the, it was white people in there that came out and said, all right, you know what, this is some bullshit.
Exactly.
So they didn't change these laws because they really gave a fuck about
Right.
us. You know what I'm saying? I think it's really been one answer the whole time, and we just have been dancing around it and dancing around it as a people. And the answer is financial freedom.
Yes.
That is the only way any people. When you look at Chinatown, if every owner in Chinatown in DC right now look and say, hey, when we get up our lease, we leaving. DC is going to be crushed.
Yeah.
So when they go to vote, they go to the politicians and say, yeah, we
Exactly.
going to vote, but look, we need this. Otherwise, we pulling out. Because they own some shit
Exactly.
that is, you know what I'm saying, critical to that market.
It's to your point though, of nothing has changed. Back when that whole Trayvon situation, Trayvon Martin, who was shot who was shot and killed by Zimmerman, there was a study that came out that showed that just as many black people are being killed unarmed by police or other white supremacist non-police, is the same amount that was getting lynched back in the 30s and 40s, around that time. So that's what I mean by not much has changed. We can sit
method
with
is
them,
different, but it's still the same result.
It's a lot of towns that we know some places in Virginia we shouldn't go there at night.
Right.
You know but we have our own areas. It's still kind of separated and segregated. Yeah, there's some exceptions, sure, but that's what I mean. Not much has changed.
I just feel like the unity and like we all been on like same board. Like when you look at like the Black Panthers, like they were like legit. Like I don't think none of us are like Black Lives Matter. Like,
They
like
were the
the
best.
Panthers. How they created WIC. Like they were like they knew their laws. These niggas were like 21, 22.
Yes.
So it's different because I feel like even with Zimmerman, people like, oh, he can't walk. Well, all black people, he gonna be dead. He can't walk the streets. What this nigga still doing?
Walking the
the
streets.
motherfucking streets.
Selling the gun he killed
Yes, but then
Trayvon
we gotta-
Martin.
Right,
But then we
auctioning
gotta-
this shit off.
But then we look at how the Black Panthers moved, and you see how they killed them off. The CIA infiltrated and killed them off. So we have to know how to evolve that and move differently. And I think that
Learn
we're
from
doing
those
that.
But look,
mistakes.
understand is they approach these people different. You had people that was alive in that time period that's still alive today. Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton is still walking this earth unharmed, untouched. And I'm gonna tell you
What does
why.
that say?
They went at the Black Panther Party the way they did because just like we talked about with the economic principles, that's what they were setting up. Community-based food programs, community-based job programs. You know what I'm saying? With everybody in the community. That's why they went at the Panthers so hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why they went and bust up, you know what I'm saying, killed these dudes in the middle of the night and they sleep because what they were creating was so powerful. See, as long as Martin and them was marching,
Yep.
he can stay alive. We just gonna beat the shit out of him every time we see him.
Right. Because guess when he did die? When he started talking about economics.
When he started talking about economics, when he started
His
saying we
views
gonna go
started
down
changing.
there and demand, and what was he about to do? Meet with Malcolm.
Yep.
Now suppose these two brothers that got together
Right.
in prime time, they knew. But
Yeah.
see, the only difference now is they can't just flat out. I mean, they can just flat out kill you, but
'Cause they doing
they're
it.
more reluctant to do that these
Yes.
days.
Right.
But now the issue we have is there's so many fucking distractions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the media and the way they've pioneered media through social media to the
Oh
way you
my
can pick up a
God.
phone and be bombarded by messages and certain
Liquor
messages.
stores on every corner.
Liquor stores, it makes it real hard to elevate past a certain level, but that's all intentional. They want to keep you on that level.
Do you think black people really want to work together though? Like you said, like as far as like
We
the
don't
China.
need that.
They don't
though.
wanna work
We
at
don't
all.
need it. We don't need all black people to work together and be on the same page. We need a solid, selective group because once we have a group of people, like a solid amount of people propelling it, it doesn't matter about the other people, the stragglers, they'll either catch on or fall off or whatever.
Right.
But you don't need everybody to be 100%.
Right. You just need consistency.
Everybody can't go with you.
Everybody's not going to go.
Everybody's not going to go.
Because some of them just don't want to put in the work.
No, I understand that. But when we going to get there?
We're getting there. You have so many people who are doing their part, whether your part is in media, whether your part is in the food industry, whether your part is in the education. Like we said last week. Oh, we got Tariq Nasheed, we got Jay Morrison, we got us, we have other media outlets. You got a lot of people.
Tariq kind of threw me off this whole Tariq. What's the whole beef? The Tariq Umar Boyce Watkins thing, because
Boyce Watkins is another one.
Right, but at the end of the day, the vibe I get from these dudes is not genuine. I want to help. It's like I want to do what I'm doing, and I want to educate people, and I want to make money, but the fact that they allow themselves to become entangled in a public petty beef like that.
See, I think that
was
because
some female shit, man.
It goes against the core.
I don't think so.
It goes against the core who I feel like, because I feel like at the end of the day, you handle in-house issues in-house. You don't go.
Let me say something, because I watched that whole thing closely, because I follow the three of them a lot. You know, Boyce Watkins does the finances, Tariq Nasheed does the history.
Right.
Umar was doing the school situation. I think Umar has mental illness. I think that was a whole thing, because he started it from nothing. You know, he had that whole court case come up about his credentials.
Right.
So he was trying to bring people down with him. I feel like, first of all, Dr. Boyce Watkins with the educating doing the Black financial literacy school and stuff, and Tariq Nasheed doing the Hidden Colors and the documentaries. Tariq said himself he can make more money doing his dating shit that he was doing. He had dating bestsellers about dating and talking to women and doing all this stuff before he started doing Hidden Colors. He can make more money doing reality shows or TV shows or movies on that shit. And so he sacrifices stuff. Of course, he has to make his money too and feed his family, but same thing with Boyce. If Boyce could, he was worked for Syracuse University for years. He could teach everybody financial literacy. But he says anybody can join, but this is for Black people. Right. And I feel like a lot of them, they get that flack because of how big that they've gotten. But I really do think that they're genuine, because they could be doing a lot more, just like us. We could do a show for all millennials, but we're doing it for Black people. Right. You know?
I think
and we want to make money too.
Right. I mean, I think it has to be a more hands-on approach in terms of the people that have these spotlights, because a lot of the times, I mean, you go to certain places, and I think these dudes are genuine enough to do what they've done so far. Mm-hmm. But okay, so you do Hidden Colors, you do Hidden Colors 2, you do Hidden Colors 3, you do Hidden Colors 4. That's just movies. Now, Umar with the school, that's very progressive. So even if these dudes need to sit down and say, you know what? Yeah. Boo, 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 but I do like your school idea. Right. If you're going to be the one with the credentials to teach, then let's get on the same page so we can keep moving. Because now we have film, we have education, we have financial literacy, and we may have some issues, but let's handle it behind closed doors.
And they did, because when he was asked on major platforms, on CNN and stuff like that, they were asked about Umar. They did not say anything. They made it a point to they talked about it with their audience, because their audience was going to be asking about it.
Did you see what they did on Twitter?
No. Yeah, they did. What did it? No, I know. I watched the whole thing. I watched the whole thing.
They was getting it in on Twitter.
I get it, and I watch his live streams, Tariq's live streams, and everything. But he says, I do what I do as far as the movies and stuff like that. But I'm not a leader. We don't need one Black leader. And first, and to your point too, Dr. Boyce Watkins and Tariq Nasheed, they are still cool. They still do business. Yeah. Tariq is doing a class on Boyce Watkins' platform. Right. So it's Umar. I feel like it really is Umar that has the mental issues, and they also know more behind the scenes stuff that they didn't really talk about in public. Boyce Watkins and Tariq, that Umar was doing some sus stuff with the money. Right. So that's why they couldn't really, connect on that level with Umar. But Tariq and Boyce are working together.
Right. I mean, hey, everybody's not gonna do right. So I ain't there. We not there, so we can't say who's right and who's wrong. But I would love to see all of them get on the same page.
Yes. But that doesn't always work out. But the ones.
But that's what we need more than anything. It's just people just getting on that same accord. Like,
yes, the same code.
We get that universal code, and we getting, like, are all aligning the end game. Right. Okay, like, regardless of the steps that we're going to take to get here, look, this is ultimately what we want. Okay. Let's map it out.
And I feel like Umar got big-headed, and he went. He called himself the Prince of Pan-African.
Yeah.
Pan-Africanism.
I don't even like that.
Nobody
term,
else.
Black leader anyway.
But but Boy says he's not one. Tariq says he's not one. They all still get together and they all work together.
Yeah.
Right. But Umar wanted to be that one, and I do think that that's whatever he's dealing
Michael.
with.
Yeah.
Whatever he's dealing with, I pray for him because I'm not really trying to throw him under the bus because I just don't do that. But I do notice that if everybody's got a problem with one person,
that's
usually
true.
that one person.
That's true. That's true.
So,
and especially when people feel like they got to elevate themselves above. Like I've worked with people in groups that felt like they had to go back and say, I'm the this or this or the that or that.
Yeah.
Right. You already focused on the wrong shit. Like that's the wrong shit because you the bottom line is what do we need to get done? Stop trying to put yourself in a position to be at the forefront or be the image or the face of something.
Right.
Who cares? That's when it becomes, that not genuine because it's like, okay, are you worried about what we're actually trying to do or do you just want to be the poster child for something?
People want the recognition.
Yeah, but
a lot
all
of the
communities
times,
have infighting.
Yeah.
You got the people.
The
a lot of people don't.
man.
Democrats don't fuck with the Republicans to a certain extent. So and they
Man,
fight
they
and all
fuck with
that.
each other.
But I mean, they all ultimately they all a part of this different wings, same bird. But they do have infighting. There will be disagreements.
Real cute.
Bad.
You go ahead sign here.
Yes.
I'll take that off your hands.
But you get what I'm saying. But it's like when we have our infighting, it's looked at as worse.
Because we don't have a backbone. When them white folks go down there and fight, once they finish fighting, they go out and golf together on their yachts.
But it's human nature.
But no, that's what I'm saying. We don't have that thing because when we finish fighting, we go back to poverty.
But we have to have infighting because that's human nature. We cannot have something where if 10 of us were in a room, somebody's going to disagree at some point, but that's okay because you have to just know how to get to the resolution.
But we don't have those baseline codes that will see, because then, so when you don't have a set of codes that you live by, then the infighting can go in any.
But
because it's nowhere that you can say, hey, we're not going to argue about that. We already know where we stand on that.
Right.
So I think the difference is we don't know that code. So we will argue about anything from religion to that, because there's nothing that we can settle on to say, this is us. They have that. Yeah. They will say, all right, we'll argue about this. You want to help the blacks? Fuck the blacks. Nah, let's help the blacks.
Now they back on, you know what
I'm saying? Let's help the blacks. But then they go back to, but we never cross each other.
Yeah.
And that's how we stay rich. So those are the things that they,
Yeah, I get what I just understand because I followed that situation closely. I definitely understand the nuances of things. Mm-hmm. But I understand how it came off to the public who really kind of was in and out of it. They really didn't know that much about it, and it did look bad.
Right.
But I do understand like the inner thing.
You gotta leave ego out of it too.
Yes.
Like, the ego just has to. You gotta leave that shit at that, and that's the hardest thing for a lot of black people is to leave ego out of it. Like you want to be right or you want to make moves.
Yeah.
Like it's it's not always gonna be both.
Right.
So like you gotta just check that type of stuff at the door. Like it's just like all these other races and nationalities, like they all show that solidarity. They all know what lines not to cross. They kind of just, like they can reel themselves back in. But us, we'll let our pride, our ego keep us from doing right, even when we know we wrong. Just because it's like, nah, well, it's a debate now. It's a battle. When you're not the enemy, we supposed to be together.
We gotta get out that plantation mindset.
Right.
Throwing each other under the bus to get extra
Pitting
business from
each other.
We don't have
Too many
anything
Ricos.
we don't have anything to reel back to.
I don't get
though.
the reference.
And that's the
Paid it for.
Oh, yeah.
That's the issue, though.
My bad, bro. I thought you had an inside.
Well, I mean, and that's true. You know what I'm saying?
It is. But when you don't have nothing to pull back to, and that's the point we at. We have not designated a way of living for being black in America. We've let it be designated for us.
Right.
We had BET Uncut designate what it is to be a young black woman in America by shaking your ass on the screen. We had major film companies designate what it is to be a young black man in America by shooting up and robbing and everything.
Yes.
So we don't have anything or being a clown. So we never said, you know what, hey, this is who we are. Not none of that shit.
But we doing it.
We starting to do it now.
We just go but prior to that, we just go fucking perpetuate.
We just went with it.
Yeah.
So when they told our parents, oh, college is the only way to go. Make sure your kids go to college and get all this debt. All our parents saw was college. To the point that if you wanted to do anything different, they were ready to be to exile you from the family because you ain't want to go to college. Yeah. But that's how narrow-minded they had our parents thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
It's
if
that
we
white, so it got to be right mentality. Like we just,
Right.
we'll feed into that. Like,
so
well,
so
white
how many
people say
how
that,
many
so-
people are stuck on jobs today because they went to college route like their parents
Went in
wanted
debt.
them to, but they're
Mm-hmm.
creatives
Yeah.
and they get up miserable every Monday through
Yeah.
Friday because they really want to be doing something else, but they holding on to this emotional attachment that their parents had.
Yeah.
That college is the only way, and they got to keep going to work because now they're $100,000 in debt. And you trapped up in the system
Yeah.
now.
I'm hacky.
But you might have been a vehicle to change the world.
I'm triggered like
Right.
shit.
Yeah.
It's rough, man.
I mean, I'm not $100,000 in debt, but I am triggered.
No, because it's very common. A
It's
lot of
rough.
us fall victim to that.
No,
we do.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah. But, you know,
I think if
get out of
college is every college is not for everybody. College
no,
is
not
for
at
some
all.
people,
Yeah.
but
Yes,
it's not for
it's
everybody.
necessary for some
So I think if you achieve on that level through college and it benefits to what you want to do,
Oh, yeah.
then great.
No, absolutely.
but
Right.
don't just do it because somebody told you
Right.
that you got to.
I was
You see how
talking to my
niggas
mother
done
about
it.
this. We went to the same school. I was in university and they was, pushing academics and they made it seem like a trade was less than. I know people who are still in that trade like 14 years in, 13 years in. And it's people that graduated with a degree and still don't know what the fuck they doing.
Yeah.
I
It's a
wanted to get in the
mind trick.
trade.
Yeah.
Because you remember we had Votech at Super,
Yeah,
right?
and that's what
so I was in AutoCAD, right? And they had electrical there. I do electrical work now, but they had electrical there. I didn't know about it. But I used to want to be an architect, design houses. So I jumped in AutoCAD. But I didn't have a supportive place at home. So when I went home and I said, Mom, I don't want to go to college. I want to get a trade. And I had a kid. So I had my first son in high school. So I'm like, I want to get a trade, get to working, The way I parent now, whatever my son comes home and tells me he wants to do, I stop and I support that. As long as it's reasonable. When he didn't want to play
Right,
football no more because he had injury concerns, I want to see my son playing football, but I'm not living through him. This is his
Right,
decision.
Exactly.
So, all right, we're not playing football no more. Let's play Madden.
Right, and
You know what I'm
but
saying?
you're also more educated on different outcomes of life, and
Right.
things are have changed. A lot of our parents went straight to school went straight to work from high school and worked in the government and had long lasting careers.
Right.
Mind you, some white kids came in with degrees and started making more money than them, but
Right.
they still at least I secured some type of bag.
Right.
So you have more knowledge and you're more aware and you're not as mentally enslaved.
Yeah. Yeah. So
know?
I can't fit in that because I would hate to be the parent. It's just like you said, okay, if I come home and I tell my mom, hey, I want to get in trade, my mom's like, no, you need to go to college. You need to go to college. And then I still end up getting in trade, being successful in that trade 10 years later. You don't want to be the parent that could potentially have to deal with your kid resenting you for that.
Because you could have had a head start. I could have been like knee deep in this shit by
I could have
now.
been a millionaire by now.
Absolutely.
I could have had my own company by now. If I just had the
Yeah.
support for my parent to say, you want to do a trade? Okay, I'm going to help you find trades. I really want you to go to college, but if you think that works for you,
Right.
I'm going to give the same
some
effort.
research.
Because
College
in the
doesn't
black-
go anywhere.
Right. And do
It's
some-
always
yeah.
there. It goes
Right.
nowhere. You go through your trade and you figure out how you're going to do it. And if that pans out for you, if you feel like, you know what, maybe this is what I thought, the college doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
But
Right.
parents be in
It's always
competition
an option.
too when they talking to another parent.
Oh, man.
Like, your kid, my kids, goes to this school, got this offer, and you say, oh yeah, my kid's just out here. It's just
Parents
Yeah.
could be either that real good thing for you or they could be your biggest burden and worst
Man.
enemy in life. And a lot of people hold on to, oh, this is my parent, this is that birthed me. Now, if you look at this from a real simple standpoint, we all humans, right? We all got different spirits. A birth, if you look at a cow have a calf, right? You're not going to say, oh, this is so emotionally. You're going to see a cow just had a little baby cow.
Say, bet
Right.
hamburgers tonight.
You know what I'm saying? So
Wow.
if you look at it with that type of disassociation in your own relationships, and you like not my mother, but this is the person that had me.
Yes.
And you look at this person as a person.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Who
Because
is
a lot of the
flawed.
times your family, your closest family members will hold you back the
hell yeah.
most.
Yes.
But you know what it is though? Wow, it's like get out of the mindset you don't owe your parents nothing.
You don't.
No.
I did not ask you
Nothing.
to have me, Mom. My
Oh,
thing
look.
is you
Oh.
don't
Nothing.
owe them anything because it's like you as the person who birthed me, as unless you was going to hand me off to you, you're obligated to take
Yes.
care of me. That's parenting. You didn't
Yes.
have to have me.
And when it comes to college, a lot of times they'll say, you need to go to college, you need to go to college. I can't help you pay for it.
Right.
But you need to go to college.
Right,
Now,
right.
if you want to pay for the whole ride, I'll go to
for
college for you.
What
Right.
you're supposed to do.
I'm disagreeing with y'all a lot today. I feel like I owe my parents because, like, yeah, they didn't have to have me, but I mean, it's a lot of parents out here. I look at other people's situation. I'm like, yo, I'm glad I had the parents that I had.
You owe
But
them
I'm not gonna
respect.
applaud
You
a
owe them
fish for
honor.
swimming.
You just said you owe nothing, so you owe them something.
No.
You can respect them, but I'm not applauding no fish for swimming.
I
You're
feel
my
like
parent,
I
you're
feel like
supposed to
I feel
raise
like
me.
I owe my kids. I feel like I owe my kids, and I feel like
absolutely.
my kids don't owe me nothing.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's my job to put myself in the best position, to put my kids in a position where they can be their best selves. But I don't feel like it's my job to tell them what they need to do. I feel like it's my job to find out.
But I feel like you
know
owe
what I'm saying?
people according to what they give you. So whether it's your parent or not, like you give me respect, I owe you respect back. If my parent gave me, the a great education or great childhood or whatever, or instill great things in me, I owe to instill those things back into them or to sow back into them. But that doesn't mean in the form of you get to pick my life.
Right.
Oh no,
You get
but
what
we
I'm saying?
the same thing, but it is some type of
you
form,
owe them
you know?
just like but it's just like your parents, whatever they give you. Because if your parents just birthed you and nothing else, you don't owe them nothing. You can't birth them back.
But what I'm getting
wouldn't
more
be
so,
here.
what I'm getting more so,
Yeah. So
no, what I'm getting more so at is the concept
Literally
that you
having
see in a
babies
lot of
every
black
day.
families where they feel like, well, I raised you, I took care of you your whole life. You're
Yeah.
gonna repay me in doing what I want
What
you
I
to do.
want you to
It
do.
doesn't work
That's
that way. I don't owe you that
bullshit.
because, like I
I
said,
agree.
I'm not applauding no fish for swimming.
Yes.
Slim, you gave birth to me, you parented me. You are obligated to care for me.
Yes.
Because some people are shitty. That's their business. They're wrong. But
Yes.
it doesn't mean that you get extra kudos for doing what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Because you didn't have to have me.
Right.
Here,
Yeah.
you could have went down to Schmorschmorschman Clinic and
Okay.
flushed it. No shade. I'm totally happy to be here.
Right.
But I'm just saying, it was not a gun to your head.
Yeah,
You made
but-
a conscious choice.
Yeah.
It's your responsibility
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
a parent. So when I parent my kids, it's the same thing. I'm going to give you guidance and I'm going to put you in a position to make the
Right.
best choices for yourself.
Because
I'm not
want
going
to.
choose
Not
for
for you to
you.
owe me.
Yeah.
Nah,
Right.
but I think
Yeah.
some decisions you gotta make for your kids.
No,
when
to
they're
a- no, yeah,
kids.
to a
When
certain
they're
degree,
kids,
yes. I'm not
yes.
going to tell you what you're going to do with your future unless I see you just flat out being foolish.
Right.
And
Right.
there's a very distinct
Because
difference.
that's a responsibility more so than you owe me something.
But
It's a
see-
responsibility that I
Like,
don't
you're
want
not
you
going
to
to come home and say, "Ma, I want to go be Nipsey's Tootsie Roll champ." No, the fuck you're not.
You
we're not doing
You got
That's
some
different.
situations where you can be an adult and they say, "Oh, your mother always your mother," and your mother is still telling you what to do. Like say you 50 and your mother 80,
Right.
your mother 70, and she said, "Well, you need da 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 da." That's that possession. Like she still sees, "Oh, that's my kid," not that's a kid. So I guess maybe I look at things so detached. Like even with my kids, right? And this is the approach I'm starting to take with relationships. I look at my kids and I know that these are kids that I had. I'm their father, but they're not mine. You see what I'm saying? They're their own.
Bring me in.
Yeah, so
Okay.
they're their own. This is an independent spirit in a body that I helped create. We had the same DNA.
Yeah. Came
But-
from your nutsack.
Came from my nutsack, but I do not own this child.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? This is God's gift. This is something that God set up. It's a routine that God set up.
Yes.
If you have a kid, you procreate. You procreate, he's going to send a spirit into a body and give you the authority to care
Yes.
for it. But it's not yours because you
Yes.
didn't create it on your own.
I agree with that.
You see what I'm saying? So when I look at my kids and parents and my kids, I have experiences with both my parents. With my father not being there, with my mother being
Yeah.
probably, we had issues. You know what I'm saying? So I have long lasting issues with both my parents.
Yeah.
So the way I parent is I take the things I went through and I say I don't ever want my kids to have to go through that. And through kind of going through that cycle, what I realize is it's this ownership to where you feel like you can say, you my kid, you supposed to do what I want. I look at my kids like you my blessing. Let me figure out what God sent you here to do.
That's
So I can
yes,
take
that's real.
so I can take what I've learned in life and help you fulfill
Yes.
your goal.
Yeah.
Not I'm an electrician. I'm not gonna tell my son, well, you need to be an electrician because you
Right.
make some money. I say, son, what you want to do? My son went from biomed to coding to now photography. He's like, son, photography is something I can see myself doing all day. That's what matters because I feel like it's my job to put myself in a position financially where he doesn't have to worry about the burden of poverty. All he has to do is
Right.
figure out what God wants him to
Right.
do with
a
his
lot
life
of black
and what's
kids
wrong
don't
with him.
have that.
I
They
agree.
don't have
with
no
that.
choice.
Opportunity
I think
to
we're saying-
focus on that.
I agree with everything y'all saying.
Oh, you back?
That's a good
Yeah, but I think no, I just maybe worded it different.
Right, yeah,
Like
yeah.
even we all have kids. I always tell my son, "What do you want to do?" My son ain't as old as
Right,
you.
Right.
You can do anything that you want to do.
Yeah.
This is not about sports because I always tell him that the book's going to take you farther than any ball can.
Right.
So he said he wants to. Now I did say this. He said he wanted to be a construction worker. I said, why not be an engineer?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I mean, that's what he went. Well,
Right.
let's. Okay,
Right.
But
let's do something in the
as a
in the
parent,
realm.
that's
Like-
your job to show him options that he may not be aware of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
It's all kind of connected, but this is something that might be a little more advanced for you.
Right.
That might let you use a little bit more of your brain. A lot of, you know what I'm saying? Not that it doesn't take, not to
Because he may
downplay
just
any
want to
profession.
build. He may just see
Right.
construction workers build things, and he's like, "Oh, I want to build stuff. I
Right,
want to
and
be
I
a
realize
construction
that
worker."
there's other facets to it, but
Yeah.
that's what our job as
Right.
parents is, to
Exposed.
show them, you know
Right.
what I'm saying, and guide them into making it. Like, I don't believe in me just making all the decisions for my kids.
Right.
Oh, this is
Right.
non-negotiable. You can't do this. You have to do this. I feel like I'm supposed to put you in the best position to make those
Yes.
decisions for yourself.
But as a parent, though, I do think that we have the ability and the responsibility, especially when they're under 18, to guide them.
Yeah.
So if they're in a club or a sport and they want to quit, you know your child. You know if it's a real reason or if it's just they just don't feel like staying after school anymore because they rather be on their cell phone.
Right.
So we have that ability to know them, to guide them in the right direction.
Right.
But fundamentally, the only thing I feel like I would definitely have encouraged my child to do regardless of whatever they want is ownership. And I would say that because of survival. Because
Absolutely.
whatever you want to do, whatever field, if you want to, make pencils, have a business where you do it, because your skin tone, your race, you're not guaranteed to have that position. And you
Right.
can't pass that down to your kids.
I think
Right.
a lot of this also deals with the relationship that you have with your parents. Because I have friends that feel like they wouldn't be successful or they
Yeah.
owe their success to their parents, and I can't knock them because
I can't
they
knock
had but it's kind of like the same thing. Their parents put them in a position.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
You know
what I'm
and that's
saying?
the difference. That's
Yeah,
the
so-
difference.
But you
I
got to
mean,
keep
it all
your
depends.
position too. Remember, we
Yeah.
had that conversation on Twitter a
Yeah.
few days ago where somebody was basically the topic was some of these people
Spoon-fed or something.
spoon-fed or
They
they've
hating
been
on them.
they've been in working. Their parents put them on the government jobs when they was 13. You know what I'm
Right.
saying, or whatever the case may be. And the reality is, okay, anybody can line you up for something, but you still got to keep it. So
You
when
gotta
you're
do it.
30 years old and you've been working government jobs since you was a teenager, you had to earn your spot.
Yes.
Somebody put your foot in the door to get you in there, but you something about you and your work ethic and your abilities has to keep you there.
Right.
So you
Exactly.
can't discredit that completely.
Right.
So even people who parents put them in a good position, you got to do something with it, because it's equally as many kids who parents would have gave them anything in the world and they bomb that shit.
Right.
You
So
right. Because like
you gotta
if I
secure the
told
bag.
Jamila, oop, he still got to score.
You got
Yeah.
to. You still got to bring it
Right, you
down.
still have to secure
You
the
know what I'm saying?
bag.
It's not automatic.
I can give you the keys to the vault, or I can give you the code to the vault. This is where the bag is. But you still got to know how to put that motherfucker
Right.
in. You got to get the
Exactly.
bag, and you got to get out of here safely
Yeah.
without somebody snatching it. Don't
Yeah.
fumble the bag. Like,
Right.
And
Right.
so you got to give credit what
Right.
it's due. But realistically, we just need, as a people, when it comes to our kids, to show them and promote more entrepreneurship. Because don't get me wrong, as somebody who's gone to college a million times, I'm about to finish my second degree. For what I want to do, I had to. So you know what I'm
Right.
saying? But I nickled and dimed it for a while because I kind of had to forge my path.
Right.
Went
Yeah.
here,
Right.
stopped, went there, stopped,
Yes.
graduated, now go back. But it's like we gotta encourage more entrepreneurial spirit in our
Yes.
kids, because all we're doing is perpetuating that. School teach you how to be a great employee.
Right.
They don't tell you how to run a business. They don't tell you how to be an employer or
Right.
your own stuff,
Right.
or cultivate your own concepts. They don't teach us none of that stuff. So we gotta show our kids, like, hey, look, if you like you said, if you're gonna do this, hey, young, run that shit, own your shit.
Yes.
That way it's yours. You can pass it down to your kids, because we were already at a disadvantage when it comes to generational wealth
Yes.
Yep.
and all of that stuff. We were already behind.
I think it's never too late to educate yourself, because it's something like with sports. I was just having this conversation with you. Really teach your kids what you know, because it's
Yeah.
easier for you. Like, you don't want to be out your comfort zone. Like, if I play basketball, what's the first sport I'm gonna teach my son how to play?
Basketball.
Basketball.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He might like baseball. He might like, but guess what? I want,
We
I
hooping
want him to,
today, son.
So it's like, I feel like with a lot of black people, they don't do it like, if you've always been like an employee, you've never been a boss,
Right.
it's kind of hard because you don't know what it's like. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
But that's
Right.
why platforms like this help educate people to know, and others too, other platforms too, to know that, okay, you're in this position, it's going to take you long as fuck to retire. If that's what you choose to do, it puts you do want to make more money, but it's a ceiling that you got on you. So I got that right now, but I don't want that for my child. And that's okay to say, encourage your child to do further than what you did.
Right.
Learn to be more open-minded.
And you got to get to a point where, like the point I'm at in my life right now, if I don't get to where I want to be, you could just shoot me in the face right now.
No, I'm not.
That's how. No, but look, this is how hardcore I am, and because I've had multiple things now that look like it could have been the thing.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And it's all been snatched away, right? By decisions made by business partners, so on and so forth. So right now, I'm at a point in my life where I know what I feel like is destined. And every waking day, every 24-hour period I get, I'm working as much as I can to get to that point. Because I've realized, like you said, the 30-year, we don't have the option to take the 30-year deal. I think it was a study that said in the next 20 years, your average Black or Hispanic family is going to be poor, like third world country poor. Because of the lack of entrepreneurship and the dependency on the system of government jobs and corporate jobs and this and that, so where we don't own anything. Now, I'm in real estate. One of the things I saw in Maryland was Walton, Maryland LLC buying up huge lots of property, $1 million at a time, right? $1 million at a time. Who's Walton, Maryland LLC?
Somebody white.
Walmart. Walmart.
Wow.
The Walton family. Walmart.
Yeah.
Buying up all the fucking property in Southern Maryland, PG County, any huge lot that they find, because they're going to develop it and they're going to build houses. Why? Because people always need fucking houses.
Yep.
So what we got to realize as Black people, and this is, we'll have a whole thing where we can segue into this, is there are two major games that are played in this country for wealth. It's real estate and stocks and bonds.
Yep.
I don't care what you want to do in life. You have to build wealth in one of these two games, and then you come back and do it.
Yep.
If you got land, you always have everything, because you got to ask yourself this, right? You get to a point where you say, okay, if I bare bones minimum, what do I need to survive? Food, running water, shelter, clothes, right? So above that,
neck, word of the day.
neck.
Neck.
But above that, you got to ask yourself, and look, this is an important question for everybody to ask themselves. If those bare necessities were taken care of, what would you do?
I don't know. I'd be suffering. I'd be crying first.
Right.
And I'd be like, where's the Wi-Fi code?
If you had a house, if you had a house paid for, and this is a question I pose to people, right? If you had a house and all your stuff was paid for, your utilities in the house, your grocery budget for the month, and you had to do one thing for the rest of your life that they didn't pay you for, but everything you needed was taken care of, what would it be?
Right.
Nipsey's Tootsie Roll chant.
So when you, and it's like, don't answer it right now, but when you find that out, that's 9 times out of 10 the thing you're supposed to be doing that you can monetize to make it take care of everything. But a lot of people never ask that question. They just kind of go with the flow.
Yes.
That was dope.
What would you
So
do
I mean,
free?
we really got to get out. We really got to find our purpose out here, because we all have one. We all got a purpose.
Like
what is your purpose going to be?
Yes, and we're going to end on that. We're going to end on that. I think that everybody should answer that question for themselves and ask their kids that. And even if your kids don't know, because kids don't always know, you just don't. They don't, and that's okay. But you give them the tools, and you expose them to know what that thing is. If they've never been exposed to engineering, if they've never been exposed to different fields, they will never know. All they're going to see is LeBron James and Odell Beckham, and that's with that success, and they think they have to be that to be successful. So you have to expose them to other things. But thank you so much for watching. We're going to end on that, y'all.
This was amazing. This was an amazing
wonderful
show.
episode. Wonderful episode.
Amazing whole time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure you follow us on our social media, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications button. We got a lot of new things coming up for you. We keep saying that, but it's a process. Thank you so much for watching again. Make sure you share this with a friend.
Don't be stingy.
Post the clips. Follow us on Instagram so you can repost the clips for us or whatever.
Yeah, a lot of people have been sharing the clips.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, we'll see you next time on the Sabrae Show Live.
Peace.